presents the Samstown Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour. It's the 1996 Spring Tour. Welcome to Maplewood Lanes for the Omaha Lancers Open. Hi everyone, I'm Leila Wagner, and working with me once again is Jan Schmidt. Jan, let's go right to the top of the ladder tonight. The lady in the number 1 position, Tammy Turner, has the opportunity to win back-to-back titles tonight. Has she ever been in that position before?
No, she hasn't, Leila. She's never made a telecast the week after she's won a title. I asked her last night, are you thinking about winning 2 titles in a row? And she said, well, yeah, but I didn't really think I'd ever be in that position.
Well, the lady in the number 2 position has never been in this position before either. She is making her first national television appearance. It's Vicki Steenson.
And I bet she's nervous, but she has a little bit of an advantage qualifying in the number 2 position. Normally you make your first show in number 4 or 5 and have to go through the field. This lady's proven she can strike with the best of them. She averaged .243 for the last 16 games of match play.
Well, it's always great to have the defending champion on the telecast. That lady's in the number 3 spot. It's Wendy Macpherson-Papanos.
And Wendy's bowling great this year. She won 1 title already. She came out this spring, just missed the first 2 telecasts, finishing 6th. Finds herself in the show defending her title, and I really think she's going to have the crowd support behind her.
Well, the crowd could be supporting one of the next 2 players. Leanne Barrette in the number 4 position has a chance to become the first 2-time titleist in '96.
And Leila, what a comeback year for Leanne Barrette. After not winning in 2 years, she won a title earlier this year, but she was most excited last night about making back-to-back shows again, because she hasn't done that in a couple of years either.
Well, Cheryl Daniels in the number 5 position is still looking for her first title of '96.
And, you know, Cheryl has proven she's tough from the number 1 or 2 seeds. You know, she's won 6 of her 9 titles from there, but from the bottom of the ladder, she hasn't won since 1989. However, she feels very lucky in this center. It's her 3rd straight year that she's made the show here.
Well, can Cheryl Daniels turn it around, or will Leanne Barrette start her climb up the ladder? Find out when we come back with the opening match right after these messages. And welcome back to Maplewood Lanes. The ladies shake hands as Leanne Barrette is about to take to lane 25. We are using lanes 25 and lanes 26 here for our TV pair. From Yukon, Oklahoma. And opens up with a perfect strike.
Nice opening shot. I'm sure she's glad to have that out of the way. She was very disappointed in her performance last week in the doubles. She felt she let her partner, Kathy Doran, down, but she was actually relieved to be bowling singles this week. She said, I only have myself to blame and to depend on.
Very sensitive player. Cheryl Daniels up on lane 26 with a perfect opening shot as well.
A lot of strikes this week, Leila. The players averaged very high. However, these 2 players not as high on the TV pairs. Cheryl with 212.5 and Leanne with 218.5.
Did a particular end of the house play a little different than the other end?
Some days. I found the last day it did, but each day was a little bit different.
And you were talking about averages. Average for the whole week for Cheryl Daniels was a little better than 223. Oh! And in order to average 223, you got to carry some of those light hits.
Okay, I said in the open, Cheryl feels very lucky in this center. This is how she made 3 telecasts in a row here. It was also a good shot to begin with, but that 7 didn't look like it was going.
Look at the average this week for Leanne Barrette, 230. Wow, you were right, Jan. High scores, a lot of 300s as well. 5?
Right, 5. We've had quite a few 300s this year already.
Coming up a little high, leaves the 4-pin.
Leanne holds the ball very low. She has a 4-step approach. She'll fidget with the ball a little bit in her hand, trying to get a good position. About a waist-high backswing. Look at that knee bend. Way down the line creates a lot of leverage. How she gets the ball so strong through the heads or the front part of the lane.
Started in the junior ranks out in Fremont, California. Came up to the junior bowling program out there. Joined the tour. Boy, it doesn't seem possible. 10 years ago. Leanne Barrette's in her 10th year.
Wow.
15 national titles. I remember one of her very first tournaments. I crossed with her. 19 career 300 games. Oh, I don't think she's got much of that head pin.
She wanted to make sure she got that ball right after being a little high in the last frame.
It appears it's pretty warm down there on the lanes, Jan. Was it warm this week?
It was tough this week. The temperature in the bowl wasn't extremely hot, but the humidity was really tough. It's been real humid, a lot of storms all week, and a lot of the players, including myself, had a lot of perspiration problems.
Well, they were talking about tornadoes coming in here. Super shot, ball holds line, deep inside.
Cheryl holds the ball waist high, well out in front of her. A 5-step approach, only about shoulder high backswing. Good knee bend. She actually follows through to the left a little bit, but gets a good rotation on the ball.
Jan, you mentioned 5-step approach. In the winter swing, Cheryl went to a 4-step approach.
Cheryl goes back and forth. Many of the players do. I know Jeannie Nacarado goes back and forth a lot. Cheryl's also gone back and forth with ball weights. She had gone down to 15 pounds, and now she's back up to 16.
All right, well, Cheryl Daniels is perfect through 4. From time to time tonight, we'll be going away to commercial with a Mother's Day wish, and sending our first wish is Cheryl Daniels.
Happy Mother's Day to the world's greatest mom.
Leanne Barrette right now trailing by 30 pins up in the 4th frame. Can cut that down to 20 if she could strike here. Oh, ringing 10.
And a really nice shot. Unfortunately, that happens quite often when you're playing a deep inside line like that. 10 pins were tough to carry, and many of the players, even the ones that hooked the ball quite a bit, were leaving some 8-10s this week.
Well, I found it interesting. Leanne told me she used 1 ball for 30 games this week.
She did, and 1 ball for the last 2 games. That's amazing. We went through the players. Some of them used 1 or 2. Some of them used 7 or 8.
Especially in the day and age of switching balls an awful lot and carrying a lot of equipment. Using 1 for 30 games is phenomenal.
Now, I just want to clarify, when we're using 1 ball, that's for strike purposes only. As you just saw, she changed balls to shoot her spare, used a harder surface ball, plastic ball actually, to go across the lane and slide so she doesn't have to play the hook.
That's almost routine now. All players, I would say at least 95% of players do switch balls for their strikes and spares.
Right,
Or
especially
10-pin.
even for their left side spares now more and more. Myself, even being a straighter player, I'm changing balls for left side spares. It's just a lot easier.
Cuts down the chance for error. Leanne Barrette having difficulty carrying right now.
And that was a little bit of a weaker hit. This ball, she's actually playing around 25 at the arrows, getting out to about 16. See how it came back about half pocket, 6-pin kind of laid in the channel.
And of course the difference between half pocket and ringing, the 6-pin staying in the channel, the 6-pin ringing the 10, and the other version of a 10-pin. So it looks like she is making some adjustments on the lane.
Sure she is, and at this caliber, when it's 1 game and you're out, you need to make quick adjustments in order to carry the 10 pins. You can't be satisfied with just shooting spares.
Cheryl Daniels, great year last year, finished 3rd behind Tish Johnson and Anne-Marie Dugan in the earnings rankings. Ooh, that ball coming up very high. A disaster has struck.
Cheryl looked a little slow on that shot. Things looks okay here. Just looked like she didn't quite get the velocity on the ball. She's been working on changing her hand position so that she can be aggressive through the shot. Takes 2 pins, that's important. You always want to cover the most pins you can.
Well, she keeps her lead, but now it's only to 16 pins.
Now, she had worked with Bobby Holmes back at the Ladies and Legends, and he suggested a different wrist position because she felt like she's had to really not be aggressive, kind of fluff the ball, so she said. But this way, in the last couple of weeks, she feels like she could be more aggressive.
And a much better shot there, and you can see the little smile nose like, oh, darn, if I would have just made that good of a shot on lane 26.
Leanne, another player working on hand position. And when you see her trying to moving her hand around at the beginning, she's trying to get set in a comfortable position. She wants to cup her wrist, but she's having trouble with it hurting. So she's actually shifting around, trying to get it relaxed so that she can cup it up without any pain.
One of the disadvantages being a big hooker, and something that we see Leanne leave quite often, the 2-8-10.
And this is a really tough spare, very rarely picked up. If she had the 4-pin with it, she'd have a better chance at it. There's a good look. See how the ball kind of wraps behind her. See how she hit about 19 at the arrows. The last shot we saw was the other lane, but she had hit about 25 at the arrows, so she missed right considerably on that shot.
It definitely appears awfully hot for these players. Oh, nice conversion of the 2-10. Unfortunately, the 8 was still standing. And look at the scoreboard. Leanne Barrette still now back to trailing by 30. You know, it has got to be difficult to hang on the ball and make good, consistent shots when it is warm.
It is, and you know, as I bowled, I found I couldn't get my hands dry or my fingers dry, and I know under the TV lights they must be having a tremendous problem right now.
Makes it easy to let it go right a lot of times. Drops out of your hands, not get enough lift on the ball. Strikes now in the 7th frame, but she still trails by 30. She'll try to fight her way back. As we come back, we'll bring you the conclusion of match number 1. Don't go away.
I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to my Aunt Kathy, my grandma, and my mom. Happy Mother's Day.
And we're mentioning the heat, but this is what the ladies were doing during break, trying to stay cool. Whatever it takes. This is Cheryl Daniels right now up in the 7th frame. Doubles to increase her lead to 40 pins.
That was a great aggressive shot by Cheryl. Stayed real firm with it, especially after sitting through the break.
Cheryl does a lot of cardio training. Also tries to do a lot of weight training, so she's trying to get back into it more and more. And this has got to help her bowling game.
And that goes along with her wanting to be able, you know, to be physical and aggressive. As she says, that's part of her game. Power is a part of her game.
And of course, the stronger you are and the better fit you are, the better you can perform. And Cheryl Daniels right now is performing very well, as she has only missed 1 frame here in this game. And that was the 5th. Other than that, she has been perfect all the way through.
We talked about Leanne trying to get it, you know, the correct hand position, feel comfortable. Her grandfather, Carvin Geckler, worked with her on that because she went to him because she said he knew what she did and how she bowled when she was bowling so well when she first came out here on tour, and she thought he might have some suggestions.
And we're seeing a variety of things from Leanne tonight.
Ooh, and you just saw the 2-8-10 on this lane. She came light, she made the adjustment, and now came high. She's going to try to get this, and Leanne could have a good chance at making it. She needs to get the ball to the right of the 3 pin. The ball will take out the 3 and the 6. The 3 will go across and take out the 4 and the 7.
Jan, I find it interesting Leanne would seek out advice from her grandfather when you know these players have so many coaches available to them, and she goes to her grandfather. But when I asked her about that, she said, well, he knew what I did when I was bowling good, and I thought that was great.
Exactly, because if you go to someone new, they're going to basically try to change your game. She just wanted to get back to what she was at.
And she said, I used to be good. I want to bowl like that again. Well, disaster has struck her tonight, but she'll be bounced back. I'm sure we'll see her either next week or sometime on the summer tour. And Leanne strikes in the 9th.
And really, she's had no problem on the left lane. She just didn't carry the one time. It's the right lane that she's been struggling with.
Cheryl Daniels continues her string. Now she's up to 4. And I spoke of the summer tour. These are the 3 stops the ladies will be at.
Greater Little Rock Classic, Little Rock, Arkansas. Join us July 14th through the 18th.
And if you can't make it there, head to Charleston for the Greater Charleston Open in Goose Creek, South Carolina.
And then the Old Dominion Open, July 28th through August 1st in Newport News, Virginia.
And you'll want to check your local listings for the air dates here on Prime. Cheryl Daniels right now in a 240 range. One more puts her up into the 250s. She will advance. Leanne Barrette takes home 5th place to check for $2,800. Disappointed, I know, when she's worked so hard all week. Pulled great, 230 plus average to get there. And it all goes away in one game.
But like I said, she did tell me that, you know, if she finished 5th, she would still be happy because she was just really happy to, she's looking for a more consistent level, and to make 2 shows in a row, she was real happy with that.
Well, she has been much more consistent this year. She's already up in the higher rankings, 7th in earnings for the year.
Those tournaments in the summer, you know, if any of you are out there, please come join us. There'll be pro-ams held at the beginning of each tournament. And we love bowling with you. Come on out.
Cheryl Daniels ends up with a 265. I had miscalculated as I was looking quickly at the scoreboard. 265. All strikes but 1 frame. 5th frame when she threw that split. 6, 7, 10. Great game.
And a good shot for Leanne now on the right lane. Unfortunately, still that 10-pin standing there.
Leanne Barrette just now finishing up match number 1. Oh, solid 9. Just to put the icing on the cake. Thank you very much. Final score, 265. Leanne Barrette, 170. We'll be back as Cheryl Daniels advances to take on Wendy Macpherson after these messages. And we're back at Maplewood Lanes here in Omaha, Nebraska, and we're in match number 2 of the Omaha Lancers Open. Cheryl Daniels is going to start this match, and from time to time you'll hear me refer to Wendy Macpherson-Papanos as Wendy Macpherson, but on TV she uses Wendy Papanos. I just want to clarify that right now. And meanwhile, we look at a lane breakdown for Cheryl Daniels.
Cheryl perfect on lane 25. Still perfect.
And if you added those up, 7 plus 4 meant 11. And yes, she threw 11 strikes in the opening match. Shot a beautiful 265. 1 hole, 1 big donut right in the 5th frame. Left a 6, 7, 10. So Wendy Papanos, husband Nick, at home in Henderson, Nevada, will now begin on lane 26. Dices the rack in her opening shot.
And both of these players were on the telecast here last year. However, it's a very different setting. We're not in the arena.
That's right. If people could remember this event last year, we were in the Oxaben.
Right?
Is that how you say it?
Oxaben, I think.
I should learn to say it again. I had to learn it all last year. Ted Baer, the president of the Omaha Lancers, brought us to that stadium. It was a wonderful event, the first time the ladies have ever had a stadium format. And Wendy comes out striking with a double. And we want to thank John Battiato and his sister, Jeannie BELITZ, the co-owners here at Maplewood Lanes. They've put on a wonderful event for 3 years in a row now. And you talked about it earlier, lots of high scores, and these 2 ladies are not giving anything away, are they?
This could be quite a match. We also want to thank Jeannie's nephew, who was Jack BELITZ. He and his wife Colleen, chiropractors that came out this week. I know Cheryl Daniels ran in the first night when he showed up, and I told her he was here. She was in desperate need of a chiropractor.
A little high, leaves a 4-pin. Jen, you talk about the chiropractors, and they are out every week, but it's important to realize that bowling is such a one-sided sport for the body, and it really takes a toll on one complete side of your body. And if you don't get adjusted, that could result in some serious injuries.
It definitely could, because you're building one side so much more than the other. And there's a good look at Jack and Colleen. Kathleen, excuse me.
And are both of them chiropractors?
Yes, they are.
Oh, wonderful. Keep the practice in the family. Wonder if he adjusts her and then she adjusts him. Think that might work?
It's a good deal.
It's cheap. All right, Wendy, perfect through 2 frames right now, up in the 3rd. And does it again. One thing interesting, all these 3 players really like to cross sports. And they like to play deep inside.
Yes, they do. They're at their best and most comfortable when they're in there, and they can open up or send the ball right through the front part of the lane. And then we have Vicki Steenson in there, who is not quite as comfortable doing that. It's never been her game. It's something she's working on trying to get toward.
And of course, Tammy Turner, for those of you that have seen her bowl, definitely likes to cross a few boards and hook the ball a little as well. Look at the concentration in Wendy's eyes. A little high, leaves the bucket. A little light, excuse me, leaves the bucket.
That ball was definitely right of target. Didn't really have a chance to get back.
Well, the match is close. Wendy Papanos has a 7-pin lead. And we have a very heartfelt wish from my partner.
Mom, I'm really proud to have you as a mother, and I know Dad would want me to say it for both.
Yeah. Cheryl Daniels up now in the 4th frame, trailing by 7 pins. See her best finish, 2nd. The Lubbock Open. She lost that title to Leanne Barrette. Oh, look at this. Oh, I could tell by the way those pins were rolling that they both were going to fall. Wonderful. Big smile from Cheryl.
Now, this wasn't the way you'd normally see an 8-10. It'd normally be a weak half pocket. This was almost, it was a really light hit. Look at the head pin off the wall, pushes everything into the 8, and they roll over into the 10.
Well, big shot there, because right now in the 5th frame, as Cheryl doubles, she takes the lead by 3. And it looked like she definitely was tighter.
After coming a little light, she came a little tighter on that shot. You're right. Closed, in other words, closed it up. Didn't let the ball to the right as much. She's going to change balls here to shoot her left side spare so she can go straight at it. Cheryl hoping to make some money here because she's trying to finance her music project. Currently working on getting an album out. It's going to be called Dreams, and she's hoping it will be out by the end of this summer.
Well, she had about 85% of it done after the winter swing. Didn't have a lot of time to work on it there between tours, but she should have some time after this swing.
She said during the break when she's home, she spent about 60 hours a week working on her music.
Wow. That's more than a full-time job. It should all pay off, though, if it hits. Wouldn't it be great? And Wendy starts her string again now in the 5th frame.
Wendy starts with the ball about chest high, a little lower, 5-step approach, pushes out and down on her 2nd step. Look at that shoulder high backswing. Nice compact approach. Sometimes her feet get going a little bit fast and she gets out of time.
And Wendy up by 7 pins can increase that lead to 17 with a strike in the 6th. Wendy started everything very young, rolled her first 300 game at age 14, and then turned around and became the youngest to win the Triple Crown.
And that was at age 22 when she won her 3rd title of the Triple Crown.
Cheryl Daniels with 9 national titles, trying to make it 10 tonight. Comes up high again, leaves the 4-pin. Jan, the lanes have to be breaking down a little bit. Cheryl's just not adjusting enough.
Right, they're probably starting to hook a little more. She either lost the shot before or tried to make an adjustment when she came light and got a break to carry that 8-10 and didn't want to do it again.
No problem with the 4-pin. Almost shot that from the left side of the lane as well.
Some of the players will do that, move left and throw straight down the lane. The thing that worries me sometimes in doing that is if you are attempting to hook the ball at all, you really don't know what that part of the lane is doing because you haven't been bowling over there.
Well, Cheryl's back on it as she currently trails by 17 pin. We'll be back, but first, an LPBT PR Director, Angel Tucker, with a Mother's Day wish.
Happy Mother's Day to Barb Wilson, my adopted mom.
And a look at the beautiful trophy that will be awarded to the champion here at Maplewood Lanes. Is the champion of the Omaha Lancers Open. And Wendy Papanos right now trying to earn the right to advance. She is almost perfect tonight. She is missed in the 4th frame. Currently leads by 18 pins. Make that 28.
She's bowling well. I mentioned her timing problem. She did say also sometimes she tends to carry the ball a little bit too long, and then the ball's there late. She's worked on that, and she just said it comes and goes. She tries to go back to her fundamentals. She said she felt real consistent that last day of match play, and that's what got her into the show.
The 1986 Ebonite LPBT Rookie of the Year. That was her very first year on tour. Now, 10 years on the national tour. And a nice round of applause. You mentioned during the opening about the crowd support. It's obvious the crowd's supporting her.
It is. And, you know, I talked about last night with her that she had played to the crowd last year and really got them behind her. And I asked her if she was going to do that again. She said, well, we'll see what tomorrow brings. But they seem to be behind her already.
And that, of course, was in the Oxarben Coliseum. Uh-oh. Ooh. Whoa. She had me on the edge of the seat on that spare conversion. And a few other fans, too, as I can hear them behind us. Oohs and ahs. Well, right now, Cheryl can still shoot 248. She can force Wendy to double. And that's the one she needed to get it started. That was the lane she was having a problem on.
See, she's at about 19 at the arrows, getting right, maybe about 16th board, just coming back. She's starting to get into this.
The 10-pin is going to stop her.
A little bit of a weak 10. She just needs to convert this. There's a couple frames left.
And right now, Cheryl can shoot 227 if she goes off the sheet, but I'd have to say Wendy's got that beat.
Well, Wendy's going to need to stay clean. She's going to need a mark in each. A mark in the 9th and a mark in the 10th. You can see Wendy has an arm brace on. You might see that she steps up. She had surgery last year, missed part of the year last year. There's a good look at it, the elbow. She's having trouble now also. Again, there's scar tissue developed, and they say she needs another surgery, but right now she's going to try to keep bowling because she's bowling so well. She said she really doesn't want to take off, and she can't afford to lose the points because of our top 12 being seeded. So she's just going to try to keep going and see what happens.
She missed the whole winter swing last year, and I know this winter Wendy's goal was to get back into the position where she did not have to qualify, where she would become an exempt player, and she did that. She bowled so well in the winter this year. And no problem with the spare. That has to be a hard road back. Fortunately, I've never had to go through surgery of any sort like that, but boy, a lot of these ladies out here I know are suffering from a lot of injuries. We've had Kathy Dorn, Robin Romeo, and Wendy all have gone through some serious surgery on their arms or hands.
Now, she said Robin had basically the same surgery and is doing fine so far, so.
Wendy needs a mark to win. And there's no better way to get a mark than do it all in one ball. Cheryl Daniels, finishing 4th, will take home a check this week for $3,200. Good game by Cheryl, too. Boy, 3 4-pins out of the first 6 frames. Then she threw 2 more strikes, another 4-pin. She was in the pocket the whole game.
Right, she threw a great game. Wendy actually needs 5 pins on 2 balls here.
And you know, that pin has jumped up at her a couple of different times. Not tonight, fortunately.
Nice 233 game by Wendy Papanos. Well, Cheryl made a big run just to get here, and I think she's happy about that. She went from 7th to 5th in position round. In fact, was never in the top 5 till after the 32nd game of match play. So she felt real fortunate just to make it into the show.
Well, she struggled. I want to say she struggled in 96, but she has been playing with a lot of things back and forth. She did finish 2nd. That could have gone her way, maybe in Lubbock, but she's been close.
And Cheryl shot that big game in the first match. Really, she shot just as well this game, just didn't carry. Left a lot of 4 pins, 3 of them. Actually 4. Actually, every leave has been 4 pins.
Wendy Papanos ends up shooting 233. Cheryl Daniels, as soon as she finishes this shot, will give you her final score. And Cheryl closes out with 227, but it's not enough. Wendy Papanos, the defending champion, will advance now to take on Vicki Steenson. That match coming up after these messages. And welcome back to Maplewood Lanes. I'm Leila Wagner along with Jan Schmidt. And we are in match number 3 of the Omaha Lancers Open. Wendy Papanos. Lane breakdown for her as she just defeated Cheryl Daniels, 233 to 227.
7 strikes, really 3 on one lane, 4 on the other, and spares on the other 3 shots. She's lined up on both lanes, just a couple of errant shots.
Playing that deep inside line. Whoa, nice work from the 6-pin.
Wendy's first shot of the match here. See how that ball's still spinning, just finishing. 6-pin tapping off the wall. We like to call that the love tap.
Wendy loved it. Meanwhile, Vicki Steenson comes up high in her opening shot on national television on lane 26.
I'm sure she's very nervous. She is the one who got the choice. She had Wendy start, which would mean Wendy's going to have to hold the 10th frame last. Vicki wanted to take all the pressure off herself that she could.
From Clinton, Iowa, this is her 5th year on the national tour. Vicki has 2 regional titles. Bowled a lot in the Midwest region. Matter of fact, she was the LPBT Midwest region competition points leader, so she bowled very well in the regional program. See their average this week, 229.
Great average. You know, we talked to her last night about her getting up there and what she was going to be thinking tonight, and she just said, you know, I know I can do this. Just take your first step, just get everything going.
And goes Brooklyn, leaves a 5-pin. Actually, Vicki lost to Wendy, 223 to 192 in match play, but Wendy was the only one of tonight's 5 finalists to beat Vicki. And I don't know if Vicki has enough experience to think about that or sort of forget about it.
Yeah, I don't know tonight. I think right now she's just trying to get through television.
And there's Judy VODA, Vicki Stinton's mother. She was here all week, I understand.
She was, and Vicki calls her good luck charm. She's bowled very well most of the times that her mother has been out.
I know Vicki shot a 300 this week. Match play record for Wendy, 18 wins, 13 losses, and a tie in there. She is not going to let up as she opens up with 2 strikes.
She's going to put that pressure on Vicki right from the beginning.
Someday, Wendy would like to be inducted into the National Bowling Hall of Fame, and I know that's going to come. That's just as soon as she gets the amount of years, and it takes 15 years of bowling the Nationals, WIBC Nationals. This year it's held in Buffalo, New York. I know we are heading there next week for the WIBC Queens event, as well as the Nationals, where all these ladies will be bowling in the singles, doubles, and team competition. Big break for Wendy.
Fortunate to get that 6-pin out of there. Ball was left to target. She's looking at the lane now. I think she may feel they're breaking down a little bit, starting to hook a little sooner. Wendy actually gets quite a bit of side rotation, spin on her ball, which helps the ball get down the lane better as they start to break down.
As opposed to that heavy forward roll.
Exactly. Vicki was one of the finalists. There you see, one this week, one last week. 300 games, bowling really well. She was one who said she had extreme amount of trouble holding on to the ball this week.
Oh, beautiful shot. There it is. And actually, Judy VODA, Vicki's mom, had a little story to tell about the day Vicki came home from the hospital.
I'd like to say how proud I am tonight to be here at the bowling alley, Maplewood, to watch Vicki bowl her first try in the finals of the pro tournament. The first day that I took Vicki home from the hospital, we took her right to the bowling alley where her grandparents owned the bowling alley. So she was raised at the bowling alley and spent most of her life there. Again, I'm really thrilled to be here tonight to watch her. Very, very proud of her, and I'm going to be right there cheering for her all the way.
And big cheers there as Vicki just threw a double, got over those first 2 frame jitters and starts throwing strikes. However, Wendy is leading right now by 9. Still early.
That was a really nice shot by Wendy. Got the ball into a nice roll.
Well, things are turning around. Wendy's not going to be able just to sit back and relax. Vicki has got over those first 2 frames.
Well, you know, when you do something as much, you know, when you're professional at a sport, and it's Vicki's 3rd year out here, the TV made her very nervous, but at some point it kicks in that you're just, this is what I do, and you just start to do it.
Let that subconscious take over. So many of these players go through a lot of sports psychology. And Wendy right now increases her lead to 19. So Vicki was destined. Let's see, first day home from the hospital, goes right to the bowling center. I tell you, she didn't have a chance to be anything else but a professional bowler. Especially her grandparents owned the bowling center. So she definitely came from a past bowling family. 3 in a row, and Cindy Garvey and Diane Vance, Vicky's 2 sisters, and apparently both of them bowl as well. Look at everybody back there slapping 5s.
The whole family bowls, and she was really sorry that her dad, that Bob, her father, could not be here.
And I believe that's her coach, sitting next to the sisters, Denny
Torgerson.
Torgerson.
Right, he bowls on the senior PBA.
Oh, great coach to have. Look down at her foot, Jan.
Did you? It looked like she stuck a little. She actually hopped up there at the line, tugged the ball a little bit to the left.
It almost held line, but just came up a little high.
They're right at that oil line, and they can get the ball to slide a little bit. She's changing balls here to go with the left side spare.
Well, Vicky trails by 11, but she has a very special wish now for her mother.
I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to my mom. She's been out here with me all week. She's been my good luck charm. I love you very much, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
We are back at Maplewood Lanes here in Omaha, Nebraska. We're in match number 3 of the Omaha Lancers Open, and Wendy Papanos right now has an 11-pin lead over Vicki Steenson. I'm Leila Wagner along with Jan Schmidt, and we're bringing you this exciting match tonight. First-timer Vicki Steenson.
Wendy backs off the approach. I believe she's trying to dry her hand, putting her hand in some rosin or powder. Not the type of powder you might think of, but it's a special rosin type to help with gripping the ball.
Vicki making her first television appearance. Wendy making her 40th. And she increases her lead to 21 pins. Interesting, though, Wendy has never won a title from the number 3 position.
And that's in 9 attempts.
Wow. And look at the scoreboard. Vicki just turning it on there in the 3rd frame. Had a few early frame jitters, I think. Get the ball off the hand. It's different bowling. It's quiet. You know the camera's out there and all those people are watching. And usually it's just the fact you just don't want to make a fool of yourself. That's the only thing you can think of, let alone trying to hit your target. That's right.
Yeah, just let me make good shots.
Light and leaves the bucket. Now, she did this against Cheryl Daniels last game.
She's motioning. Remember, she stood back after she made her last shot on that lane, looking down, thinking, they're breaking down a little bit. So she might have made a move on purpose on that shot, an adjustment, and wound up coming light.
Currently ranking 2nd on the LPBT earnings list. Has had a wonderful year so far this year with 1 title. It fails to take out the 8. Right now, she sort of opens the door a little bit for Vicki. As Vicki right now trails by just 6 pins.
Now we're going to see if Vicki can step up and take charge.
Well, her bowling goal is to win a national title. She's probably had a lot of that experience coming from the regional program, though. And she's won 2 titles there. Oh, beautiful shot, though. She performed.
Real nice shot. Yeah, you're exactly. She's won 2 titles out on the regional tour, and she's always a top competitor. And we're going to take a look here how she's talked about her first step. She has to make sure she keeps that step small. She's cut that back, and that seemed to help her in order to get the ball to the right. She's trying to be able to open up the lane a little bit more.
Well, critical error there.
She's just going to go across lane with a ball that's not going to hook. She obviously just missed right of her target where she was trying to aim, and the ball just kept sliding across.
Yeah, it really looked like it got off her hand well.
It did.
It didn't fall off early or anything. And crosses over. Leaves a 5 pin. You know, she'll be able to take a look at this later and say, you know, if I could have just relaxed a little bit more, or maybe if the 4-7, the one shot where she stuck a little in the 6th frame, you know, maybe would have carried it, could have loosened her up a little bit.
Well, I think that took a lot out of her. She got up and made a great aggressive shot following Wendy's open, didn't carry, and then to miss the spare, it obviously shook her up.
Well, it's all in the learning process, and Vicky's an excellent bowler. She's been out here. Now, last year she was 26th in merit points, and we do take the top 24, so she's right there, real close. This year she'll probably get right in there.
And I was talking about her regional experience, and she did tell us last night that number one in regionals, it's a house condition, and she's more familiar with that condition, so that helped her. But also it's the competitiveness and the ability level that's on the regional tour. She feels like she's one of the top players, where when she comes out here, she's just one of everyone else, you know, and she's one of the newer people out here. So it does change her confidence level.
And of course, if you're bowling with a lot of confidence, then you usually perform better. A prime candidate for sports psychology. Build up that self-esteem and self-confidence. Wendy Papanos strikes in the 8th frame. Has a 17-pin lead over this lady right here, Vicki Steenson, who is making her first national television appearance. Wendy fails to carry the 4-pin.
And she feels like right now, I'll bet she doesn't have an in-between. She either has the ball finish a little too hard, or she doesn't quite get it back on that left-hand lane.
Almost missed that one time, we thought, but no doubt that time.
Okay, Vicky could actually, if Vicky could strike out in the 9th and 10th, she could shoot 215. It would force Wendy to get up and throw a double.
And a good average on this pair of lanes, 224. Oh, look at that. Tripped the 4 and the 10. That could be the break that she needs.
That was a big break. I think that ball finished a little harder than she expected. It looked like a great shot, and then it just jumped at the last second.
And there's a look at the scoreboard, as you called it, Jan. Vicki strikes out. She shoots 215. Wendy Papanos would have to double to get into the 220 pace. That's a determined look. Gave it the room, trusted it.
On that, the left lane, if she gets it left, it doesn't hold, it hooks. We saw her go Brooklyn, we saw Wendy hooking a little bit if she gets it left. When they get it right, it doesn't quite make it back. But it got back just enough. She's going to have to trust it again. This is the position you want to be in. Let me throw the strikes. Sit down and force Wendy to do it.
And Vicki has trailed this whole game. With this strike right here, she can take the lead. Whoa, that was an excellent shot, too. Whoa.
Nice shot. Good lift on that ball.
Well, she still forces Wendy to mark. Ball hit the oil first up, but even though she missed that, she finishes out with a 203. Right now, Wendy will have to mark. Oh, that 9-pin was slow to go.
She's still watching. She's even going to spin around and hit the 4, but ooh, I think right now she's happy that the 9 got out of there, and she's going to have to shoot at the 4-pin. Uh-oh. Whoa.
Yeah, it converts it regardless. Talking to herself.
Oh my, well, she had almost missed it to the right. She tried to go directly at that pin and it almost hooked away. I've seen several players this week missing that pin to the left.
She needs 3 pins, needs to stay behind the line. And no problem, no buzzards are ringing, all 10. She ends up shooting 211. Vicki seems in 203. Vicki will settle for a check for 4,000. When we come back, we'll take a look at the rest of our finishers. Don't go away.
Mom, I never knew how hard you worked at raising kids until I had 2 of my own. Thanks for letting me live past the age of 5. Happy Mother's Day.
And the crowd's going wild here at Maplewood Lanes as Wendy Papanos now takes on Tammy Turner for the championship.
Oh, they're excited about this match. For a minute, I thought we were back in the arena.
I tell you, look at lane breakdown. 26 seems to be Wendy's favorite.
And she's going to be finishing on that lane. And that was Tammy's choice. But she wants Wendy to finish last. Or she likes, Tammy might like lane 25 better.
Oh, very, very high. The trips, the 4 and the 7. Very aggressive shot as Wendy opens up with a strike. Tammy Turner from West Palm Beach, Florida. 25 years old. That's in her 3rd year on the national tour. Was named the 1994 Ebonite Rookie of the Year. And given the name of the Taminator for pin action just like that.
Great opening shot, and this is how she does it. Holds the ball about chest high, tucks that elbow in. Look at how she's opening her stance. 5-step approach. Look at that aggressive shot. She's been working on trying to open up. You see it at the beginning of her stance. She wants to open up all the way through. In other words, turn her body a little bit toward the right, which is where she projects the ball.
And we talk about confidence. This lady is bowling right now with a lot of confidence after winning the Storm doubles last week with her partner, Laura Moriarty. It's really, she's just riding that wave right now, isn't she?
Like we said in the Open, this is the first time she's had this opportunity, and, you know, she just couldn't believe it last night. So I think she said she's well ahead of her expectations right now.
We made a quick look at Wendy Papanos' averages from 95 season to the 96 season. Remember, she suffered an arm injury in 95, had to take off that whole winter swing, and obviously she's bowling great so far here in 96.
Wendy a little bit high. Remember, she was high in the 10th frame and was lucky to trip out that 9 pin. Again, ball in a little bit high. 4-7-10 was up.
And she was actually high on the first opening shot of this match. She tripped that 4 and the 7. A big smile, perfect conversion. I think she shot a lot of these tonight.
Lane's starting to hook a little more also. Remember, Tammy came on during that break, and Tammy received, I believe, 10 practice shots. She could take 5 on each lane or however she wanted to take them, and Wendy didn't get to bowl on the pair again. So there was some bowling on there without her knowing how the lanes began to change.
Tammy not thinking about anything but possibly the next shot. Definitely appeared as if she moved deeper.
Yeah, she tightened up way left, moved her target and feet to the left.
With a 10-pin lead coming up in match number 3. Let's see, big game, 280 to Wendy's 222. That's a tough game to beat. Strong release.
Tammy's really deep. She's almost playing a fade shot, just getting the ball to the right of the 17th board, which would be the pocket, just a hair to the right of that and going straight through the pins.
Former Team USA member. Admires Nadia Comaneci for her courage to leave her family and country to pursue her gymnastics dream in the U.S. And the 6-pin does its job. Tammy is perfect through 4 frames.
And that shot, she did get a little farther right than the others, but still blew the rack out.
Wendy's thinking, okay, what do I do when my opponent opens up with the first 4 strikes? I re-rack. Sounds like a winner. Tammy in her own world right now. It's where she needs to be. She has been off on the sidelines for about an hour and 10 minutes. Meanwhile, we get to take a look at the positions by round. All of the players in the top 5 tonight, with the exception of Vicki Steenson, were exempt. And there's that big move from Vicki, boy. Well, 10th to 2nd was the day, actually 23rd to 2nd was the day she started the last 2 rounds, right? When she aged 240, she went from 23rd to 2nd. Never give up. And she leaves a ringing 10-pin.
And which is probably what she was afraid of when she took the re-rack. Occasionally you'll see a pin-off spot. Players on the television show are allowed 2 re-racks per game without approval. After that, they would need the approval of our tournament director, Rick Ramsey.
And you can see Wendy won the McAllen, Texas border shootout. The last stop on the winner's swing. Right now, Tammy is doing to Wendy what Wendy did to Cheryl Daniels in our second match of the night. Wendy came out through 4 strikes in a row right at Cheryl Daniels. And Cheryl was never able to come back. Trailing by 30 pins as we enter the 5th frame. Here in the championship match of the Omaha Lancers Open. Again, we want to thank John Battiato and Jeannie BELITZ, the co-owners here at Maplewood Lanes, for hosting a wonderful event. That ball high again. It's a 6-pin this time.
She's really coming high, especially the left lane. She's been coming high, and when she lets it right, we see her leave a bucket. You know, we looked at that exempt field. 4 of those players being exempt. The top 12 do not have to qualify, but they used that time very nicely. This week they went and visited several area schools and talked to the students about being a professional athlete. It was a nice visit, and they enjoyed it. Also, the LPBT Players Association on Pro-Am Day helped to raise $400 for the Big Brothers Big Sisters program out here.
A lot of community service going on by the ladies on the Pro Bowlers Tour. 10 in the pit. 5 strikes in a row. Tammy Turner is near perfect. And there's John Battiato, one of the co-owners here at Maplewood Lanes. As I've mentioned him a couple times tonight. Boy, I'm not going to jinx her. Can't say it.
Nah, Tammy credits a lot of people for help with their bowling. She said, of course, Carolyn and Kathy Dorn are always helping her. She also says Del Ballard and Pat Henry help her quite a bit.
That's right. Mention of Kathy and Carolyn Dorn bowled together from West Texas State. The 4-9 jumps up, and you see she actually crosses her arm over.
And she knows she pulled that ball left to target. Was just hoping it would fade enough. She's going to change balls. She's going to try to throw this. She's going to go straight at it. Try to hit the left side of the 4-pin. Slide the 4 over into the 9. She may actually try to hook this a little bit. No, she went straight.
Conversion, and with that conversion, we are going to commercial, and with a very special wish from our tournament leader.
Hi, Mom. I didn't get you anything for Mother's Day, but maybe I'll win the tournament for you. I miss you and wish you were here. Happy Mother's Day.
Well, for a moment, we thought Tammy was going to give Wendy an opening.
Look at this. After starting with 5 strikes in a row, she comes a little high, 4-9, throws the ball straight at this. She's going to just touch it. Beautiful.
Yes. Keep that lead. Wendy Papanos right now trailing by 39 pins as she's up in the 6th frame. Trying to fight her way back into this match. Never say die. 6-time national champion. Wendy's been out on tour for 10 years. Currently ranked 2nd in earnings. As we take a look at the scoreboard. Can go to the wall for 249.
Wendy's coach is Sam Baca, but she says she hasn't really worked with him in about 5 months because, you know, taking off. When she's home, she's taking off to try to save her arm right now.
And she is fighting back. And, of course, Sam, living out in the San Diego, California area, would also mean a trip west for Wendy, as she now resides in Henderson, Nevada. An extra deep breath. You notice Tammy Turner exhales. Big, wide span there. Really spreads her index finger.
That helps get a little more rotation on the ball.
And that helps the 6-pin slap the 10. Big smile.
Tammy had a great match play record. 22, 8, and 2.
Ooh, 22 wins. She did lead the field by about 200 pins, didn't she? In the stat sheet that I looked at one point. 29-pin lead for Tammy Turner right now. Can increase it to 39. It's a possibility of shooting a 278 game.
There's 180 pins, right? Just about 200.
Ringington.
And that was a nice shot. After leaving the 4-9 on that lane, she made sure that ball got to the right. Again, going to change balls and go straight at this. This is something she's worked on. She really has learned to flatten the ball out.
Tammy, also another product of the junior bowling program. Started bowling at the age of 9 in a junior bowling league. Named the 1992 Bowling Writers Association Amateur Bowler of the Year.
Wendy's taking a re-rack on lane 26 again. And go ahead and get involved with our Adopt a Pro program. It's the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour Players Association. For more information, call 817-529-6272, or you can write to P.O. Box 34, Byers, Texas, 76357.
And with that, you get, I know, an 8x10 photo and photo button and a few other things.
Right, a headshot photo button and an 8x10 action photo. You get a biography of the player, and it's a lot of personalized information. A membership card. It's a real nice program.
Learning out of a fan club, basically. Meanwhile, Wendy gives a little raised eyebrow, a little look at the sky, carries a light hit, has 3 in a row, trails by 19. Again, she can go to 249. She would force Tammy Turner to throw a double. Wow. Great match. Wendy with career earnings of over $460,000.
Oh. And again, that left lane, ball hooks on her. Tragedy.
And that will probably come close to wrapping it up there. 4, 6, 7, 10. Oh, boy, the big 4 popping up right in the 9th frame.
Oh, my.
And what else was she really going to do?
Right. Well, she had to, at this point, needed to try to somehow pick it up, but that is a nearly impossible spare to pick up unless you get lucky and bounce a pin out.
Right now, Tammy Turner basically just needs a few pins as she leads by 51 pins going in the 9th and 10th frame. Well, this lady has just won 2 titles in a row. Won the Storm Doubles last week with partner Laura Moriarty. And turns around and wins the Omaha Lancers Open.
Who would have thought 1 frame ago that she didn't even need to show up for the 10th frame? I mean, it was such a close match.
That's right. Wendy Papanos will settle for 2nd place and a check for $6,000. Who cares now? It's just a 10-10. Tammy looking over the scoreboard, I guess, to make sure she won.
Great performance by Wendy.
Really, Wendy, games of 233, 211, and she goes off 207. She really came fighting back. When the pressure was on, she performed.
You can read her lips. She's saying, I don't believe it, I don't believe it.
Well, there she is, the champion of the 1996 Omaha Lancers Open. Destined someday to be Bowler of the Year. Matter of fact, some people talk about her not only being Rookie of the Year in 1994, but also named Bowler of the Year in the same year. We'll be back to talk with our champion. Stay with us. She defeated Wendy Papanos 238 to 197 in the final match, and we have a wonderful presentation from John Battiato and Jeannie BELITZ, the niece of the other Jeannie BELITZ, to present the trophy.
Thank you very much. Tammy, it's a great honor to have you as part of our family here, our third winner, and we'd like to present you with this lovely crystal bowl here.
Congratulations, Tammy. Great bowl. Thank you very much. Good luck.
And also, Tammy, to go with that crystal bowl, Ted Bear, with a check for $11,000. Ted is the president of the Omaha Lancers. Ted?
Congratulations. Congratulations, Tammy. Nice shooting.
Thank you very much.
Tammy, did you ever think you could make it 2 weeks in a row, 2 wins?
No, no. Boy, what a shock. I just wanted to bowl my best this week, and I was still on a high from last week. But before I say anything else, I was wondering if I can get my partner from last week, Laura Moriarty, to come up and give a Mother's Day wish.
Well, we know she helped you win that title last week, so come on up, Laura. We had a lot of special Mother's Day wishes here tonight. Laura, I know you have a special one for your mom.
I want to wish my mother and Ned a happy Mother's Day, and I'll see you in a week, and I'm going to take you to Vegas when I get home.
Well, that sounds like a good offer. Take her to Vegas. Jan, you have a question for Tammy?
Tammy, are you thinking Bowler of the Year yet?
Yeah, I told you that before we bowled tonight. If I was lucky enough to win, that would definitely be on the first thing on my mind. But I'm just going to take it as it comes. I mean, I'm not going to get too stressed out about it.
All right, well, thank you. For Jan Schmidt, for Leila Wagner. So long, everyone. Look for us as we move to Buffalo next week for the WIBC Queens Tournament.